the guys at the analyst desk?
There are no words. There are no words.
I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of words.
That was a rowdy game.
Wow. I can't say most of them on broadcast.
This is one of the times where I will start at the end of the game and go back to the beginning. What on earth was in Team Solomid's mind? I literally don't understand. I want to know who made the call.
Okay, what goes through the head right there is, okay, we're getting Vayne split push and we have no way of breaking it open. Because if we have to switch lanes, by that time Vayne gets too much pressure. We're strong, we're in a straight 4v4. So let's just go mid. However, Dyrus TP'd in way too late. They got completely flanked. They got engaged on the wrong targets. And Vayne made it back to base, ready in a position to fight before TSM was able to organize at all. So that all goes back to Candy Panda split pushing as Vayne. Which is, by the way, the main point of that strategy, which SK only figured out about 45 minutes into the game. Yeah. But they figured it out, and yeah, that's made him win the game.
And even if they do actually fight a 5v5 anyway, that's like the ideal positioning for the battle anyway, is these really chaotic, spread-out fights where Vayne gets to isolate somebody, while stun or not, doesn't matter. You know, Swain and Ziggs can deal damage to large areas, whereas TSM have to peel in a specific direction for the Kog'Maw, right? Vayne, Cinder has to set up for one person. It's all very directed and in a very open environment. That's exactly the kind of fight SK would take.
Well, and if we just look at the crucial ultimates that were used, or crucial abilities rather, I mean, Crumbs and I were just talking about how Turtle used his W to try and attack a turret, and by the time the fight rolled around, it wasn't anything. And then Bjergsen used his Syndra ult onto Kha'Zix, who is a tank, had a Black Shield, had a Maw.
No, the Black Shield only came in after the ult.
Oh, okay, but had a lot of MR in any case.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk a little bit about the picks and bans. We saw the Swain coming up for Freddy. Questionable pick in terms of effectiveness. He was camped, let's be fair. Same token as well. We did see the first pick, Kha'Zix. I initially didn't like it when picks and bans was happening, but Svenskeren, 9, 3, and 4, his performance was stellar.
I actually think that the Swain pick was effective in the psychological warfare. Even though it went like 0-10, but the fact that they picked Swain threw TSM off guard. I feel like they didn't really know how to deal with him. In the early game, they kept diving Swain over and over and over and having Vayne just get endless farm, endless split push, and that played to SK's team comp strength. For some reason, they just kept going with it.
I completely agree there. I think we even have a replay that's going to show it. Basically, if you can get that on your screen right now. Yeah, basically this is level 1 right now. So I'm gonna talk to you. We can roll the clip already. So what you're gonna see is Raiders is freezing that lane. And why is there no counteraction on bottom lane? Why did Kog'Maw and Janna just run straight into bottom and start CSing? Is because TSM was 100% convinced that the Swain was a counter pick to the Maokai, and therefore had no feasible notion that there could ever be a lane swap. Bottom lane, Kog'Maw and Janna just ran into lane and started the lane normally, and Freddy just got the wave pushed to him. Meanwhile, Maokai was frozen on top lane.
Yeah, and when you don't stack those minions,
call back the replay, by the way.
Minions like that, the last hits will slowly and inevitably push it forward. Yes. And the thing about it too is, had they been there a little bit earlier, we saw Freddy positioned in the second lane brush, and sometimes what you can do is actually just walk into the minion line and break the freeze that way. So he was set up to break the freeze, but then when he saw them not even trying to freeze, he backs off immediately. Now what happens in this is that it then forces you to dive their bot laner, because we immediately saw N-Rated start to recall, head back down into the bottom lane, and if you don't dive him at that point, well, you get really screwed. So, of course, they come down, try and dive, and then they totally botch that, give a double kill over to Morg.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain how you break the freeze. Basically, you stand in your ranged minions, enemy attacks you, you range minions attacks the enemy champion. Meanwhile, the enemy minions are still killing your minions. The wave's at a deficit. Once you have less minions than the enemies, your lane will inevitably push towards you, and that's exactly what you want when you're a top laner. You'll get dove, but you'll get a lot of experience.
Yep, that's simple. The game was extremely chaotic. I think both teams had questionable calls throughout the game, and it was trading objectives. There was all sorts of nonsense going on. As we get late into the game, I want to pull a second replay up that we've got. It's about 40 minutes into the game, and this is a team fight that TSM ends up winning, but it's just all over the place. Roll the clip out, and Crumbs, talk me through what stands out in your mind.
So Syndra's in the brush, and Kha'Zix with the Mar decides to just try to 1v1 Syndra. Almost gets it, but amazing with the quick reflexes goes on, finishes him off. Right here, Maokai did not need to go in. He gets caught and gets finished off. Now, Crepo, this is why you get the Frost Queen, because you slow and you save your AD carry.
I mean,
do you think it made a big difference, though? Let's be fair, as they carry on running down.
Hang on, watch out. Let's see what's going to happen right here.
No locket.
Mikhail's
Janna ulti, so right now Morgana gets out of position, gets hit with the stun, flashes out. Vayne tries to get the third Silver Bolt's proc, almost gets it. He gets healed, Crucible, and Locket.
That's why you gotta make kills.
Yeah, no, he lived without it regardless.
That's where Kobe got very, very excited.
And when we talk about SK this game too, it was very indecisive split pushing from Vayne. It definitely could have been executed a lot better. In fact, that's not why they won the game at all. They won the game because TSM made a tremendous error. And it's with how far ahead Vayne was in that game and how obviously panicked TSM was about that split push, they certainly didn't kind of drive the knife home, enough.
I think when Turtle had 300 CS, Vayne had 400, so that's quite a bit.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the builds came online fairly late. Like, we keep making fun of item builds, but I think it's honestly very true that we keep seeing these builds that don't quite pan out. The late McHale is one of them. The fact that Freddy didn't get a Zhonya's like ever this game when for some reason he buys Ryle's. So a health item on top of his Rod of Ages, which is a health item against Blade of the Ruin King Kog'Maw. Like, that's kind of weird as well. Also, Infinity Edge, a better, I think, third item than Phantom Dancer, so you can actually kill turrets a little bit faster. Maybe they use that mid-game power spike for the Kog'Maw, right? Like, these little things that are going to matter. And when you have games this close, actually, those are going to make the difference in games sometimes.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just to finalize the point before we move on, Candy Panda 470 CS in the total game, Wild Turtle 343. So Candy Panda definitely putting on his carry pants. Final thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, Candy Panda was given the split push this game, but that's also, he got that because TSM just pretty much ignored him. They couldn't lane against him with the Maokai, so he was just free farming, and they didn't do...
Because of the Swain pick, actually.
Yeah, telling you the mind games won them that game.
And I think that's what's so concerning about this for TSM is that when they get thrown for a loop in game, we saw it against Starhorn Royal Club, we saw it against them here. They seem to just implode. They don't really know what to do. They can't really formulate a plan in game.
Well, we do have to shuffle this one along with those results. It does mean that Group A is completely wrapped. Group B, rather, is completely wrapped up. We'll be right back with our next match from the Taipei Group stage, Samsung White versus Edward Gaming. Stay with us.
When Racing's in trouble, he's going to get locked up out upside Dark Shield. It's not going to keep him out, but the tower comes down and it's a double kill. Candy Panda comes around the side while Dylan is focused, but he got slowed down. Gets himself one kill. Can he get a second? He does, but he will go down. Bjergsen, he's caught, but it turns that ultimate around. More on Harmonious just about keeping him in there, but amazing finds the target. They turn back on towards Dyrus. Svenskerin's the focus target. That's Bjergsen's ultimate going down. They're going to lump on towards him. They're going to catch on Lust Boy. Wild Turtle picked off at the side here. That's a double for Svenskerin. He locks in, goes for the reset on towards Bjergsen. One more hit, gets it, and SK Gaming have just cleared out